Hey guys, so I wanted to do a review, couple of lessons on surface area because I know that was something that you guys really struggled with when we were doing geometry. So I just want to do some practice videos, just some review on surface area. So let's start out with something simpler. How about the surface area of a rectangular prism? So we're going to start with drawing our rectangular prism and making sure that we have our length, width, and height, the 3 units that we need to have to find surface area of this shape. So we'll say that the height is 4, the width is 3, and the length is 5. So length, width, height. Length is 5, the height is 4, and the width is 3. Now, does it really matter which one's length, which one's width, which one's height for this? No. As long as you use them appropriately, whichever one you name as the length, you keep it as the length for the remainder of the time. So, remember when we're doing surface area, we are finding the area of the entire shape's outside. So this face, plus this face, plus this face, plus the ones that you can't see. So, the very first thing is we want to label our shapes. So we've got the top, which is a square. So obviously in a rectangular prism, all of our shapes are going to be rectangles. So we have the top and bottom. We have the front and back. And then we have side 1 and side 2. Okay, so if we're looking at the top and bottom, remember top and bottom on a rectangular prism are always going to be the same. So this is my top here. What 2 dimensions am I using here? So I've got this side length here, and then I've got this one here. Which 2 are those? So that's going to be 5 and 3, which is our length and our width. So length times width, which we know is 5 times 3. Remember, I'm using the multiplication dot to show multiplication here. That way we don't get confused since we're starting to use variables. Next, we're going to look at the front and back. So this would be our front here. Which 2 dimensions are we using for the front? So that's going to be this dimension and this one. So that would be length and height. Length times height, which we know our length is 5, and our height, which is going up and down here, the height is 4. Very last part is going to be looking at side 1 and side 2, which is this side right here. So what 2 dimensions are we going to use for side 1 and side 2 over here? So that's going to be this one and this one, which is 4 and 3. So height and width. Height times width, which we know is 4 and 3. Now, 5 times 3 is this top part. What do we have to do to show that we're making this for top and bottom? There's something we have to do in order to say, okay, this represents the top, but also I have the exact same thing on the bottom. What do we have to do there? Multiply by 2, right? Because we have one piece here, one on the very bottom, which we can't see from our drawing. So we're going to multiply by 2. I should have done a multiplication dot. Why am I doing that with each of those? Because there's a top and a bottom, that's 2. There's a front and a back, that's 2. There's a side 1 and a side 2. So now we know we're going to multiply each of these pieces by 2 because we have 2 sides, top, bottom, front, back, side 1, side 2. So I'm going to take this. What's 5 times 3? 15 times 2, 30. All right, next, what is 5 times 4? 20 times 2, 40. And then last, we have 4 times 3, 12 times 2, 24. Good job. So now what do we do? What's our very last step to find the surface area of the total shape? What does the word total mean? What operation? Adding. Good job. So we have 30 plus 40 plus 24. What is 30 plus 40? 70 plus 24. 94. And then, do we have any units here? No, I didn't put any. So, we're just going to say units and then area, surface area. Do we have regular units, units squared, or units cubed? Units squared. Area is always squared, so you have that 2 there. So this is your final answer. 94 units squared for the surface area of this rectangular prism. All right, surface area again, but this time let's do a pyramid. All right, so surface area, and then I'm going to draw a pyramid, and I'm going to say that it has a square base. So that means that if we pretended we could see through here, it would look something like that. I don't know if you can tell on the camera, but I tried. Okay, so we're going to have a couple different measurements. So remember, if this is a square, these sides are all going to be equivalent or equal, right? Good job. So we'll say that the side for each of the bottom pieces is 3 inches. Okay. Then let's say that the slant on this side here, this slant from here to here is 4 inches. And then let's say that from the top all the way down here to where it is perpendicular, it comes to a right angle. Let's say that that measurement is going to be 3.5 inches. So not only did I change the shape up on you, I also changed up the measurements, and we're going to do something with some decimals now, so it may be a little bit more difficult. So we're still doing surface area, which means we're finding the area of the entire surface of the figure. Looking at this shape, knowing that we have a base of a square, we know that we have 1 square, and we have how many triangles going all the way around? So you got 1 for every single side of this, so that's going to be 4. So we've got 1 square and 4 triangles. Now, What is the area formula for the area of a square? So it's going to be length times width, right? What is the formula for the area of a triangle? Remember, when you have a square, if you cut it along the diagonal, that makes 2 triangles. So that's going to be base times height divided by 2. Also, you could put length times width divided by 2. It's the same concept, as long as you know what your length, what your width are. Now, because we're using length and width for the bottom part of the square here, the base, I would probably use base and height. So we're going to do base times height divided by 2. Alright, so do we use the slant on the side of the triangle as our height? That's something that we really need to know. Do we use that as our height, or do we use it as something else, or do we not use it at all? Yes, we don't use it at all. Slanted sides, remember, are longer, than the perpendicular side here in the middle. So we are not using that 4 inches. You may be thinking, then why did you even put it up there, Miss Pierce? Because they're going to try to trick you and give you that 4 inches and expect you to pick it instead of using this height right here that's perpendicular at the base. Remember, you always use a perpendicular at the base height. So, for our triangles, the height is going to be this 3.5 inches right there. What's the base going to be? So remember I said that the height is perpendicular to the base. What is this base? 3 inches. Good job. So I'm starting right here with my 4 triangles. I don't know if I mentioned that. Base times height divided by 2. We have our base and our height, so I'm going to fill those in. So base times height. So our base is 3 times the height is 3.5 divided by 2. I'm just using that formula right there. What is 3 times 3.5? Should be 10.5, I believe. Then you just bring the 2 over. Now, what is 10.5 divided by 2? $10.5 divided by 2 is 5.25. What are our units here? Inches, and if we found area, is it inches squared, inches cubed, or just inches? Should be inches squared. Are we done? We found the area of the triangle. Are we done? No. How many triangles do you have? 4. What else do you have? 1 square. We're not done yet. We got to keep going. So we know that this is the area of 1 triangle, right? Now, if we need 4 triangles, sorry, that's my dog whistling at the door. If we need 4 triangles, what should we do in order to find 4 of these? We are going to multiply it times 4. Good job. So 4 times 5 is 20. Put your 0, carry your 2. 4 times 2 is 8. Plus 2 is 10. So 0, carry your 1. 4 times 5 is 20. Plus 1 is 21. Now, how many decimal places do we have here? 1, 2. So that means we have 1, 2 decimal places here. So remember we do our little loop-de-loops here? So that's 2 of them. Okay? So this, what does that represent? What does that mean? That means that's the area of all 4 triangles. Good job. So now we've got our 4 triangles. We have one more part, and then we have our final step to find the total. Good job. So, moving on to, so this was the triangles. Moving on to the one square, we have length times width. What is the length of the square and what is the width of the square? Well, what's the basic definition of a square? It's a 4-sided figure with 4 right angles and 4 equal sides. So these are all equal. What is the length and what is the width? 3 inches. Good job. Now, the formula says length times width. Just like I wrote it up here, I'm going to write it really tiny right here. Do this as well, so we can see all of our pieces there a little bit easier. So the length is 3. The width is 3. What's 3 times 3? 9. What are our units here? Inches. If it's area, it's inches squared. Good job. So now we have 1 square plus our 4 triangles will equal the area of the pyramid. So let's finish this up. So we had 1 square is going to be equal to 9. We had the 4 triangles equal to 21. So our final total area for the entire thing is 30 inches squared. Good job. Hopefully this was a good refresher on how to find surface area. We're going to keep doing some more of these review videos if you guys like them. Sound out below in the comments. I'm pretending I'm on YouTube and I'm an influencer. See you guys in the next one.